Today I have absolutely great topic connected to episode number 4 with Dennis and episode number 6 with Bryce. But before we start, I'd like to share with you what I heard from one of my listeners, Hamid Sohrabi. This is a voice message he left me after we recorded an interview.
Injection job is so expensive, and these kinds of information that you told in these episodes, they are the secret of the companies that they are in the injection field. If only 1 point we get from each episode, only 1 point.
Yeah.
It is so useful to help us in this career, and I think all of companies avoid to tell the information, the details of the injection. You can go to the websites of the injection. They told the total information, not detailed information about the injection. So your job is so great, and I have to tell you, you help people like me all around the world to improve our career. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you, Hamid. This kind of information makes me happy. I do feel what I do makes sense. I will continue, I promise. Okay, let's dive into another portion of details and secrets of injection. One complaint I often hear from clients who have ordered concrete lead sealing procedures in which an acrylic gel was used is that under some conditions the expansion joint leaks again. This problem happens typically because of dry weather, which causes acrylic gels dry out and shrink. And when acrylic gels dry, they lose their elasticity and ability to adhere to concrete walls. And that's why water starts leaking. Of course, acrylic gels have the ability to regenerate and expand when they come into contact with water again, but there is a period of time when they just don't seal. For situations like this, when the job site investigation tells us that dry seasons might occur longer than usually or under a variety of other circumstances, a far better choice is to use injection rubber. Remember, as always, proper job site investigation is key to choosing the correct product. In my conversation with Michaela Müller-Kaya, CEO of Arcan Waterproof, we get into the details of using injection rubber and under what conditions it's better choice than an acrylic gel. What I learned from my conversation with Michaela helped me choose injection rubber for a critical leak sealing job I did recently in downtown Wrocław, in an underground passage underneath a high traffic motorway, which included a tram line. My job site investigation indicated there would likely be extended periods of very low humidity, plus I detected intense vibration caused by trams. Also, there was challenging access to the work area. All this meant that I didn't want to risk having to go back to rework the seal. So I concluded that injection rubber would be the best choice, and I'm glad I did, because now, when I think about that job, I can sleep easy. So if you've ever wondered if there are better alternatives to acrylic gels for certain jobs, you definitely won't want to miss this episode. Plus, I have a few great giveaways, so make sure you stay to the end to find out what they are and how to get them. So, if you haven't already, hit subscribe, sit back and enjoy the episode. Hello, Michaela. How are you doing today?
Fine. I hope you too.
I am. Because of that, it's raining outside the window in my city and in Warsaw. Actually, there is a storm. It's been raining for 3 hours in a row, heavy raining. So
Okay,
this is a perfect weather when it's raining, we can discuss this leakages subjects. But first,
business.
Yeah, this is personally, I really love when it's raining.
Me too. Me too.
Okay, so we have something in common. First of all, if you could tell us, to me and our listeners, I know that you run a family-owned business. Can you tell me about this time you started? How was it at the beginning?
So originally, the company developed from my great-grandfather's painting business. Right. And so we did many different projects and things over the years. And yeah, I think since 35 years, it must be 35 years, we are in the waterproofing business. Right. And so we have a wide range with water-soluble tapes, injection tubes, resins, glues, coating systems.
So no more painting.
No more painting. So we have special paints, waterproof paints, but we don't do the work anymore since I don't know how many years.
I think I did say it in one of my previous podcast episodes that for me, painting the wall is so boring. I mean, you see everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's on the surface. So you don't actually have to use your imagination. And this, in our injection business, imagination is so much needed. You need to really understand what is going on with the resin while it's being pumped, what happens with the water that is stuck in this crack, and so on. So this is so interesting comparing to painting.
It is, and sometimes you have to be Sherlock Holmes to find where the leakage comes from and where the problem is, because they don't have the plans, they didn't do the perfect monitoring for a project, or the project is very old. So you really have to look into the details and get a feeling for the job itself and for the waterproofing.
Yeah, absolutely. Every single guest of my podcast, and even not on the podcast, this conversation is almost the same. That we say it looks very much like an investigation on the job site.
Yes,
you have to know how to ask right questions to really important. Get to the point. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So today we are going to discuss something which is very similar to acrylic gels, but it's not an acrylic gel. Indeed. Can you tell us what's the product, and then we will try to dive in this details to compare those two products.
Okay, I will try. So the product we are talking about today, it's called Hydroblock Rapid 570. Okay. And we call it an injection rubber. Mm-hmm. So this injection rubber.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because directly after mixing, the material creates a cream. It is like a pudding. And this pudding is easily pumpable. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't distribute, for example, in heavy water inrush, or if there's a white crack or white joint, it doesn't come out immediately. So it stays inside. Right. And after 60 seconds, this cream creates or develops into a highly elastic rubber material. Mm-hmm. And that's the reason why we call it injection rubber.
Okay.
And it stays like that.
It stays like that. So I injected into this, let's say, an expansion joint, because this is, as I know, like the main purpose of this of this product. Yeah.
Yes.
One of the main we will go to this a little bit later, but I used this to inject into the expansion joint, and. So I think I will tell the story. We got this product on the job site, and there was immediately a phone from my employee, and he asked if I ordered the right product and if everything is okay, because they got only two components, component A and component B, nothing else. So no additional subcomponents needed.
No. So the mixing ratio is 1:1 after volume. It's very easy. So there is no room for mistakes. So you don't need to accelerate. You don't need reaction starter. It's just 1:1. So very, very easy and very comfortable.
We really, get used to mix different kind of acrylic gels from different producers. So we have at least 2 or even 3 subcomponents on the A part, then they at least 2 components in the B parts. We have to mix it, the scap test to check the time of reaction. If something is wrong, then we add some salt. We mix it a little bit more to really obtain the homogeneous, components. And then another try. So it takes a while to to be sure that the acrylic gel is prepared as we want, exactly as we want. But this is an advantage because we can prepare it as we want as well. So
this is why the application is totally different. So we have acrylic gel as well, and we suggest it for gel curtains. For construction sealing. So gel is absolutely perfect. It's a wonderful product for this application.
I agree.
But we think for dilatation joints, the injection rubber is the much better product because it doesn't shrink. It has a homogeneous structure. It is mechanical resistant. It has a very good adhesion. So the purpose is totally different, or the features are totally different compared with acrylic gel.
There was a question from another employee that if we are able to inject this material into the expansion joint and really observe as it goes through one packer to another, because we use packers with unscrewed nipples, so we can really control the injection process. And this is important to really know where the material is while it is being injected.
And where it flows, absolutely.
And then we also remove the air or the water from inside of the expansion joint. So this is very important stuff to really take control over what you do. And their question was if this material, after we mix it, the reaction starts immediately. After a couple of seconds, you really can notice the difference in viscosity of these 2 already mixed components. So is there no risk that it will, stuck somewhere and it won't flow?
No. I know what you mean, and I understand. So the situation is like that. When you mix A with B, this cream exists for approximately 1 minute. So 1 minute is a really long time when you do injection. And in this minute, you can pump this cream and for one joint, we used 1 packer. So we expected much more, but we used just 1 to fill a 12-meter joint with just 1 packer. So this is possible. And it's just after this 60 seconds that the viscosity is getting very, very high, and then there is no longer pumping. It's no longer possible to pump this material. And in total, after 90 seconds, the material is fully set. So the last step in viscosity comes relatively fast. So in the last 40 seconds, it gains the strength, and in the last few seconds, you can't pump it anymore.
It stays there, and nothing can be done.
It is not as liquid as acrylic gel. So if you want to do the gel curtain, the acrylic is much better. But this one is for water stop, and it is for dilatation joint repair.
Well, actually, when you inject this material into huge space, which is the expansion joint, it's not a crack. I mean, expansion joint comparing to crack is a huge space. So you don't need so low viscosity, low viscous material.
Absolutely. It is better to have a high viscosity material to guarantee the perfect filling. And so it is an advantage, not a disadvantage in this case.
I see. Okay. Can you tell me, well, actually you almost answered this question, but what is the way of application of this product?
Oh, you need a 2-component pump. So this is absolutely mandatory. It is funny. We have one customer and he used this product in a handgun. And he says, it works perfectly well, but I don't know how he managed this. So the usual application is a 2-component pump, mixing ratio 1:1. So the standard one you use for acrylic gel.
Exactly the same 2K pump.
Yes, absolutely. So nothing special. It's the only thing is we ask you to have cleaned the pump properly and to guarantee that it is dry. So
I ask my employees to clean the pump every day.
Yes,
so
but to make it dry
special.
as well.
I really ask them to clean it every day, and it's still from time to time needs service because some leftovers of resin stays there, and then another injection process and another, and it goes. So even though they say that this products won't react if there are no 2 components that they meet together in this injection head, mixing head, it still somehow gets dirty over time. So,
that's the reason why we suggest the care material. You just fill into the pump and the tubes, and you leave it inside until the next injection. And you can reuse it very, very often until it is completely dirty. So it collects or avoids the hardening of the leftover materials inside of the pump, and you just pump it out afterwards, and then you start directly with your injection. And it doesn't interfere with any resin. But it's very interesting.
That's okay, but if you use the same pump for acrylics and for fast reacting PUs, then you have to switch it. First there's water as a solvent, then there's a solvent, then another water. So it's not that easy. I really think of getting another new pump to have
one for PU and one for acrylic.
PUs.
Excellent choice. Very good idea.
So I'm really close to have this decision and to get another pump, because it's it's too often that we have to switch these material buys from one to another and vice versa.
Absolutely.
Some time ago, I've seen, or maybe we had the discussion on the phone that you had live seminars, and sometimes you have also an online seminars for your clients, and I guess also for prospects. Can you tell us a little bit how does it work? Like how many people you meet there, and something about this.
It is very different. So sometimes we have between 10-20 people, and last time we had 120. So it's a big difference. It's very nice, and the discussion afterwards is very interesting, because even online there's a very good discussion with all the potential listeners and customers, and it works very well. So not only the live seminars are important for the people, even in this pandemic situation. The online seminars are very good method to keep in touch and to be prepared for the time afterwards. And the acceptance is very good.
Okay.
So we do usually some theory, we do some mixing to get the feeling for the material. So it's a very it's a dialogue. So we don't keep it in a monologue holding a speech. It is really very interesting to get the feedback.
Question and answers.
Yes.
From both sides, I guess.
From both sides, that's how it works.
So, I really would like to have this conversation as this that our listeners can compare acrylics and this Hydroblock 570 material, and we already told about some differences between those two products. I was wondering if during these seminars, people are really able to, to imagine this difference, especially if the seminar takes place online, to imagine this difference between an acrylic and this rubber.
Of course, it is possible, because usually I have samples like this with me. So you see, this is acrylic gel with sand, and this is the hardened or the shrinked acrylic gel. And when you compare the elastic rubber-like material, so
with
the difference is so easy. And usually we show, okay, online it's not possible, we let them touch and feel, but when you mix it and you see the difference, because if you see how flexible the gel is, and if you compare it with the Rapid, you see that the inner strength of this resin, of the injection rubber, is so different compared to an acrylic gel.
I also have some samples, and this sample is a week and a half old, and this is an acrylic gel with the part B was reinforced with latex.
Okay.
And so it is not as elastic as it was just after mixing. The reaction time was like half a minute, more or less. But I see on the surface the color is different.
Of course, the water goes away. The water is leaving.
So it shrinked because, as you may see, there is this space between the cup and the acrylic gel.
And that's the point.
Yeah.
Even the reinforced gel will shrink in a dilatation joint if it is getting dry. So, and if then we have heavy rain today, so if there's a lot of rain, the water comes, it goes through, the customer calls you and says, hey, we have a leakage, but we paid a lot of money for the job. And then, of course, it starts growing again, and then the leakage is sealed. But in the meantime, you have the problem. And with the Rapid injection rubber, you don't have this, because there is no shrinkage.
I remember myself working as a product manager for injections. It was years ago, but still I just remember this conversation even during seminars and some trainings for our customers, that I was explaining that you may expect to have some drops coming through, some water coming through, after a long period of dry weather. And then this gel has this great ability to cure itself using this water.
Yes,
but
it is a self-healing effect.
Hours or first day, first days are really tough for the client, because he really feels like something's wrong. Something's wrong. Definitely, I paid to have it solved. And then I see the water coming again.
You know, the big difference between injection gels and other swellable resins is a gel contains water. It contains a lot of water. Even the gel itself comes with a lot of water. And the second component is water, or you reinforce it, but the solid content of gels is low. That's the reason why they shrink.
Yeah.
So other resins like this one, this is the original size. In contact with water, it starts growing.
Yeah.
This process is reversible, like the gel swellability. So the auto repair effect works perfectly well. But the difference is, and it's the same with the injection rubber, it won't get smaller than the original size. So the original size, the thing you inject, will be what you have. The swellability of the product is just the additional benefit, but you don't have the disadvantage of the shrinking.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's the main
It will
difference.
shrink, but to this volume from the very first day when it was injected.
Yes, from the original size. So this is a pure resin. So it starts growing, it will shrink back and growing and shrinking, but without going smaller than the original size. And that's it. That's the swellability from swellable resins, which are not acrylic materials or acrylic gels.
After we tried this resin on our job site, as I said, we were injecting into the expansion joint in Warsaw. My employees, thought that this material would be also great to stop the water. we were injecting, to stop the water between the piles. They weren't connected. They weren't overlapping at all. It was 5 meters wall of piles, and in the very bottom, the gap between piles was up to 35 centimeters.
Oh my God!
Huge, and the water table was very high.
Yeah.
So there was missing ground from the external side, and my employees was like, man, this material would be great because it doesn't mix with water.
Exactly, that's the advantage. So you don't need foam for a water stop. You just use the injection rubber, and it keeps together because of the creamy structure. It won't get separated when you inject it in a situation like that.
Yeah.
And it can get the inner strength very easily, and that's the reason why we say it is the best for water stop you can get. And another advantage, it doesn't have pores, so it is absolutely homogeneous structure, and you will have, we call it one-shot system, because you need just one material for water stop and permanent waterproofing.
Yeah, whereas if you use PU-based resins, then first you use this really, really fast reacting PU foaming, huge amount of foam creating resin. And then the second step is to use another PU-based resin that will stop the water for permanent swing.
And then you have maybe the problem that you don't get the real waterproofing inside because the foam blocks the path.
That was always my problem. Like, I couldn't believe and I couldn't imagine, and we said that imagination is very important. I couldn't imagine that this resin from this second stage of injection will penetrate the foam to really, it will stay outside. But the foam from this first stage is going to be filled with water after a certain amount of time. It can be a week, it can be half a year, but will definitely
it will happen.
It will behave like a sponge.
Yeah,
it will be filled with water, and in the end, it will allow the water to come through. That's it.
That's the reason why we prefer to use different materials. So we sell a lot of foams, and it works perfectly well. But the re-injection is so important to use the material which is non-foaming, like this one, with a swellability effect.
Yeah. Coming back to expansion joints, when we prepare the expansion joint to inject this with acrylic gel, we clean it. I sometimes I even use this expression in Polish that we clean this walls, internal walls on the left and on the right, that you could almost eat from it.
Oh my God!
Yeah, really, because I really want to see this concrete clean. My imagination again allows me to believe that the injection resin will really stick and it will glue to this really cleaned concrete. Do we also have to clean it as just exactly as I described in the situation of hydroblock?
Yeah, when something grows or when something starts swelling, it grows. So it means if something sticks at the beginning very well to the concrete, and then it's getting bigger and bigger, it will get loose from the surface. And in the end, just the swell pressure is sufficient for the waterproofing. So the adhesion doesn't exist after the swelling process. That's it. The same happens with the gel. The same with all swellable materials like integral or the injection rubber. So it is nice if you clean the surface, but it is not necessary. So you don't, if there are big things or something like, remove it, make it as clean as possible, but we are not in a hospital. So just inject the material sticks perfectly to everything. And due to the swell pressure, so the material starts swelling up to 120% after the contact with water. The swell pressure is enough and sufficient to seal the joint.
Okay, well, it happens that we remove, plywood from the expansion joint, because it, the leftover, like the styrofoam, concrete. Sometimes it's concrete there. I mean, there is no expansion joint actually because there is concrete inside, so we remove it. I really like when it's clean.
You know, if there's concrete or something else inside, remove it. It's better because you need to get material inside for the proper waterproofing. If you don't get the material in the right place, it can't seal the leakage. Absolutely. So, of course, these things must be gone. Yeah, it is
okay.
better.
So then again, even if the concrete walls inside of the expansion joint are not cleared perfectly well, this material will still will manage to stop the water because of the swelling material. It will just create bigger volume of itself.
It is. And it moves with the change of the dimension of the joint, so it levels the change very well.
Okay, so I remember one situation that we have injected in the time of in the summertime, and the expansion joint was 2 centimeters, maybe 1.8 millimeters, something like that, around 2 centimeters. But during the winter time, it was almost twice as big. It was almost 4, and and the gel didn't manage to work with this concrete, and it's it was still glued to one side of it, but it wasn't to the other one, and of course the leakages was there. Do you think that this material will manage this situation?
It could be. So it must, at the beginning, you have to guarantee that you fill the joint properly. Really to make it full, like you do it with all other materials.
It is glued to one, and the second one
left
to both walls.
So maybe even the gel shrink over the time. This could have happened. So because of the non-shrinking property of the rubber, so it will stick to the walls. It will move with the joint.
Okay.
But if the joint opens up too far, there's a limitation. So the material starts swelling up to 100%. So if it is more like that, there is not enough capacity. So, but in general, we haven't faced this problem before, so it works.
There was too many mistakes made on this one job site. If there is only one mistake,
it could manage.
Situation will be solved. But if there are 5 or even more mistakes,
very difficult.
So that was it. They had to use totally different way of sealing this, because it turns out that there is only one joint, and it works even more than 2 centimeters, even more than 100%. So the claim wasn't. I just said that they didn't tell me how this joint works, and I said that it wasn't my fault.
But it's not satisfying. I know.
But no, I wasn't happy. They weren't happy. No one was happy because we spent some time and they spent some money. We really watertight this for half a year or even longer, and it worked until the cold concrete created the gap twice as big. I I was, because at the moment we are discussing the areas of application that are really possible to use your product. I was looking for some areas of application comparing to acrylic gel that this product won't work. And I think I have found two. One of them is injection holes.
Absolutely
Because
right.
we need some time, reaction time longer to inject into the hose and to wait until this material will come out from the injection hose to the cold joint and so on.
Definitely not suitable for that.
Yeah, and the other one is if we would like to inject into the structure of masonry, because this is very common area of application when it comes to injection acrylic gel, and this acrylic gel of really low viscosity, that is the part B of it is with water, like this one. So first one, injection hoses. Can you say something? What do you have for injection hoses? Or maybe this material works, but I don't think so.
No, you were absolutely right. So Rapid is not suitable for injection tubes because of the viscosity, because of the setting time. So we have something different for that. I know that most companies suggest acrylic gel for example, re-injectable injection tubes. But then we have the problem of the drying out, because we can't guarantee permanent humidity in a joint. And that's the reason why we developed a different material. It is called Inject 583. And this material is acrylic as well. So it is not a gel, it is a resin. So it comes with a swellability. It is flexible, but it doesn't shrink. It shrinks approximately 4%, 5%. So it is acceptable. But you have the advantage, you can clean the joint, the tube and the machine with water. And you can have this swellable, elastic, acrylic resin for joint, or for broken joints, or tube injection, or crack injection.
You mentioned re-injectable injection hoses.
Yes.
How does it work? Because my imagination says, well, how to remove the resin from the holes and how to make these holes cleaned again to be able to use it once again.
Yeah, that's very easy. So we have a special hose which comes with a V shape. You see the red one and the black one. So it's like a V. So because of this shape, we can put a vacuum on this tube. So it works like that. You just place one end of the tube in water, the other one on the sucking side of your pump, and you suck water through until the water comes clean. Then you do it from the other side to make it sure. You close one side, and then you just suck all the water out. And this is the vacuum process, and this prepares the tube for future injections. Because of this V shape, the black of the tube just comes to the red and avoids the sucking out of the resin we just injected a few minutes before. So this works perfectly well. So, and if you compare it with the tubes or hoses with the mesh around, so the mesh has a problem, because if you inject it once, the mesh is totally soiled with resin.
It's filled with resin, absolutely.
And you can't crack it open again. Or even the concrete may block the mesh for the injection itself if the concrete is really set. But this one comes with a protection coating, so there is no chance that the concrete will block the tube. And because of the cleaning process, and when you use the acrylic resin, you have the 100% guarantee to do the re-injection. And the very nice thing with a re-injectable tube is you can prove your customer that this joint is absolutely waterproof, because after the injection and the setting, you just close one side and start. First you fill it with water, you close one side, and then you apply pressure. And if the pressure keeps up, you can say, it is waterproof, please pay your bill.
You're right, because there is no water coming again to this cold joint.
Absolutely.
Because the resin already reacted resin keeps it
keeps it waterproof. That's very nice.
Inside of the tube. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Thanks for that, because I haven't seen anyone using this type of injection holes you have. I see very often injection holes with the mesh, and as you just described, well, from time to time they only know that the injection holes were installed, but where are these ending?
Oh my God.
No one knows.
Oh, really? We have nice boxes for that. So these are keeping boxes where the endings are stored. You just remove the plate from the top, and then you pull them out and start the injection. So there's a whole system of
I know that the system is there, but believe me, situations are really different. Things are happening on the job site. Believe me that there are systems, and there are ways to overcome. Every single system can be changed on the job site. Okay, what about the second idea, the second situation that I think we are not able to use this hydroblock? I mean the structure of masonry, where we inject into the structure to make it watertight.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense because the viscosity is too high.
Because of the viscosity.
And it doesn't spread so easily, because usually we use a gel with a long setting time, 20 minutes, 2 hours for the perfect spread. But so we have the philosophy, we have for each problem the perfect product. So you don't need to treat all problems with just acrylic gel. So you have the possibility to choose.
Yeah, I like it. I wonder how many people work in your development department, because you have so many products that they have 200 people, just thinking all day and night. What else?
No. We have just 5 to 6 people in the research and development, and believe me, it is sufficient. So their creativity output is so high, and we need to manage to sell these products as well.
Okay, so how does it work? They find a product, and then you look at a situation on the job site to say, hey, we have the product. Or there is a client calling you and he describes a situation happening for the first time, and then you think what other new product can be developed for this situation. So
it works in both ways.
Both ways.
So it happened very often that customer says, we need a product, it must look like that, and this property, and so on. And then we develop something, and it works so well, and then it comes into the standard portfolio.
I see.
And in this developing process, or if you find new raw materials, you get new ideas, and you get the impression what you can do with this or that. And sometimes it happens that we get a new product, and you see the feature is so perfect, and then you're looking for an application. Yeah, it happens like this. But we always like the feedback from our customers, because when we have something new, we give it to the building site and say, please test it, give the impression how it is to apply. Is it nice? Is it smooth? Yeah, is it easy to apply? This is very important for us.
I just reminded the story from the Steve Jobs biography. And there is a situation that some Chinese engineers developed a really small hard drive.
Yeah.
But they didn't know how to use it, and they bought it, and we know this as an iPod.
Yeah, super.
1,000 songs in your pocket. So
it works like
that. It's a great product, but how to use it and where is it?
Yeah, very good.
Is it needed?
Example. Yeah, super.
Now it's hard to believe that situation can happen, but it wasn't true funny true story. Can you give us an estimation in the share of sales between the acrylics and this injection rubber, like more or less?
You mean how much?
How much acrylic gel? How much in percent? Like 50-50, which is more, which is less?
It depends on the projects. So, for example, if we're doing hydropower dam or tunnel, we have a lot of the injection rubber. But as well, if you have the curtain injection, the tunnel injection, you use the acrylic materials as well. So it depends from project to project, and that's it. So I can't say which one is more. Both are relatively equal, but in general, the amount of acrylic gel is a little bit higher.
Every single market you deliver your products is the same. Like if you compare the German market to Polish one to I don't know where else, this share would be the same.
No, it is totally different, and I noticed that each country is different. So even our neighbors in France or Italy or even in Austria, they need different things because maybe of history or something like that. They all have different problems. They build in a different way, and therefore they need different products.
Solution.
And that's I think one of the reasons why we have such a huge range, because we try to satisfy all their needs.
I see. And by the way, so where do you sell your product? I mean,
we sell it
I can
worldwide.
imagine that all EU.
Pardon?
Where do you sell your product?
We sell it worldwide. So we have some partners, and of course we are always looking for new partners because the world is very big, and
but it's getting smaller.
yeah, that's right. So we are looking for partners in Asia or in Arabic countries. So this would be nice. But we have partners in Turkey, Russia, and Azerbaijan, and so on. So. Yep.
So it's not directly you as an Arkan company. There are these partners are your resellers.
Yeah, they are resellers. Sometimes they are construction companies, and sometimes they are just dealers. So it is very different from country to country. So like the markets are different.
Yeah, that's true. I have a question of frequently asked questions about this product.
Yes,
do you have anything like this? Like, no matter the seminar, no matter the market, this question always show up.
Very good question. I think it is about the adhesion, but this is settled once they saw the first mixing and how well it sticks even to the plastic cup or the wood spoon. And to be honest, once they saw the mixing, all questions are do not longer exist because it is so convincing. When you see the developing of the cream and then this highly elastic rubber, and you see that it doesn't shrink, that there are no pores, and you can imagine what you can do with it, even for the sheet pile walls when the locks are broken or open, for the water stops there. People understand relatively quick what they can do with this product.
Yeah. They just, the memory show them last situation they couldn't solve.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
Voila, this is it. If only we had it.
Yeah.
If only.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So if there is some listener from the country you are not present yet, how these people can find you, to...
Of course.
So
they can reach us via the social media, but an email would be nice, or via our website. And we spoke about it. You will give my contact details in the notes of the podcast. So we'll be happy to provide the information.
There will definitely be your company's webpage address. So the 100%. Your LinkedIn account, if you say yes.
Yes, please.
Okay, you just said yes, it's recorded. Your Facebook account, your companies. Do you have any companies' Facebook account?
I sent you the link. Yeah.
Okay, so I will also put it there. All right. I just look at my list if we have covered all this, topic I was interested in, because now we are preparing for another application job sites. So there will be some more questions, while we use it one time more, and then one time more is always the same because something else happening, and then you just have some additional questions.
Get more ideas.
That is why I was really waiting with this conversation until I use it, I touch it, I see it.
Excellent.
And I see my people working with the product to be able to
very good.
To have some questions from my own construction site. All right. Do you have any question to our listeners?
No, I don't have questions, but a recommendation. So if you have technical questions or need technical advice, so just drop an email, send me a picture, a description, a drawing, and we will be very happy to answer.
Great. All right. Thank you very much for the conversation.
It was my pleasure.
Finding a time for me. I think we had covered all most important thing when it comes to creating this difference between the acrylic gel and this injection rubber. And I'm really interested if someone of our listeners had tried, and maybe some, quick information. How was it?
Of course.
We are waiting.
This would be perfect. Yes.
Have a great afternoon.
Thanks, you too.
Still afternoon. And talk to you soon. Thank you very much.
So. Have a nice day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Michaela, for this conversation full of information. The podcast makes me developing in my injection skills. I hope you all have the same. As I said at the beginning of this episode, for the first time since the launch of the Concrete Injection Made Easy podcast, I have two special giveaways. One is a 5% discount on Hydroblock 570 injection rubber, and the second one is a 30-minute remote consultation by phone or Skype with me or Michaela. The second promotion involves subscribing to the podcast on iTunes and leaving an honest review. Details of this promotion are provided in the notes for this episode. Promotion runs for 10 days from the date of publication of this podcast episode. I want to point out here that I am not receiving any payment from Arcan. I just asked Michaela to grant a discount to my podcast audience, and she agreed. Many thanks for that. I hope this is the perfect time to take advantage of it. In the last week, I visited construction sites 3 times where the water started to leak due to drying out and shrinkage of gel. Everything that we said in the conversation happened there, so it is even more important learning how to apply another type of resin. Okay, that's it. This episode is really full of great news. Thanks for listening, and I hope you tune in next time.